Hey everyone, it's Tori and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, we are going to be setting up a crochet bullet journal. And thank you to Ohuhu for sending over some markers for me to use in this video with their beautiful new packaging. I've collaborated with Ohuhu in the past and I use their water-based dual brush pens for the beginning spreads of my 2023 bullet journal, and they recently reached out again telling me they have rebranded and wanted to send over their water-based dual brush pens again in their new packaging, and I just love how gorgeous this box is. So today we are going to be using the black pen in 93, this dark teal shade in 116, and you know me, I love a light gray and needed to use this one in 107 for some highlights in my new journal setup. If you want to get this set of amazing brush pens in Ohuhu's brand new packaging, I will have a link in the description box down below. And thank you so much again to Ohuhu for collaborating with me on today's video. Now let's hop into my brand new crochet journal setup. I will be using this traveler size notebook from Archer and Olive today in this gorgeous dark teal linen cover with a ball of yarn and knitting needles on the front. And yes, I know this is a crochet journal, but this was the closest thing they had to crochet and I think it still works. This is an older journal from their winter collection last year, so I'm not sure if it's still in stock, but they always have beautiful journals coming out each season, so I would highly recommend checking out archerandolive.com. So the first thing I'm going to do in this journal is set up the name page as my cover page because I found this adorable crochet themed gnome in a wreath that I just could not pass up, and it needed to be involved in the first spread of this setup. I'm also using my black Ohuhu brush pen side to color in the stamps from Stationery Pal to write out Tori's crochet journal on one of these craft paper sticky notes for the title of this bullet journal. Then I'm just going to paste everything down using my Tombow tape runner, which I have since run out of after filming this video, so I'm going to need to order a few more tape refills because I cannot live without this thing. And to finish off this spread, I'm just going to add a couple sparkles with the fine tip side of the Ohuhu black pen, and that is my super simple cover page complete. The next spread that I knew I needed to add in my crochet bullet journal is the standard yarn weight system. And if you're not a person who crochets or knits, you probably have no idea what this is. And also, if you're new to yarn projects like me, you also probably are struggling to figure out what it is. Basically, the yarn has a certain weight system to it, as the title suggests, and from my understanding, the bulkier the yarn, the higher the number. I've been making a lot of those little crochet animals for the past few weeks. I think they're called amigurumi? Is that how you pronounce it? Help me out in the comments if you can. But in order to make those animals, I've been loving to use the size 6 yarn, which is super bulky. And I've also been loving the size 6mm crochet hook, which I'm going to get into on the next spread in order to make those cute little crochet animals. I think the spread will be super helpful as I start to experiment with more different weights of yarn. So I'm glad I have this to reference in my journal. When you crochet, the two most important things are the yarn and the hook size. So on the right side, I have a list of the crochet hook sizes, and I'm referencing the craftyarncouncil.com, and I end up looking at that site for information to make a few of the spreads today, so I will have that website linked below. And when it comes to the sizes of crochet hooks, they range from 2.25mm all the way to 30mm, which I can't even fathom how huge that hook is. And currently, my favorite hook size is 6mm, but I also do like the 5.5mm. I definitely need to start branching out and trying new hook sizes for different projects though, because I feel like that's what normal crocheters do, and I'm such a creature of habit, so I just keep grabbing the same hook size. I'm pretty sure what I'm writing in teal is the US size range, but I don't really even pay attention to that. I tend to just look at the millimeters. So we've got our size charts for both yarn and crochet hooks. Now we are going to be moving on to crochet abbreviations. These crochet abbreviations are also referenced from craftyarncouncil.com, and actually the journal spread idea came from Sew Homie, like SEW Homie, here on YouTube, who made a crochet and knitting journal. I watched her video before making my journal to get some inspiration, and I will have her video linked down below. I think it's such a great setup. And she also referenced Plant-Based Bride's sewing journal in order to make her video, which I've watched in the past as well. That came out stunning. So I will have Elizabeth's sewing journal video linked down below as well for you guys to check out. But back to the abbreviations, I knew going into this journal setup that this was going to be something I really needed as a crochet newbie, because when I'm watching YouTube videos to learn crochet things, I'm totally fine. But when I start looking at actual patterns and buying patterns on Etsy, it's pretty easy to get a little lost in all like the lingo, if you will, and all the abbreviations in the patterns. I'm getting a little better at reading them. I definitely know what a single crochet is and an increase and a decrease and like a slip stitch, but looking at all the rest of these, I'm a little lost, especially because these are going to span across 2 full spreads or 4 whole pages in this journal. I never knew or could even fathom how many crochet abbreviations there are out there in this world. It is absolutely crazy. We're moving on to that second spread, and I wanted to take the time to ask if any of you crochet or knit or sew or do macrame or do anything like that. I really want to talk projects in the comments of this video, so if you do, please let me know what you're working on right now. I think that would be such a fun conversation. Personally, I just finished up crocheting a Highland cow for one of my family friends, and I think it might be my favorite project so far. I'll have a picture of it on the screen here. This pattern was from Crochet Grove on Etsy. Her patterns are some of my favorites, and I think her animals are like the most adorable things out there, so I'll have her Etsy shop linked down below. The crochet abbreviation spreads are finishing up now, so we are about to move on to a spread that I like to call To Be Crocheted. This To Be Crocheted spread is going to be a space for me to write down all the things I want to crochet in the near future. It's basically just a brain dump to plan out everything I want to make. So some things I know I want to include in this list are the dragons from Fourth Wing. Nobody should be surprised if you've seen my last video. And a rainbow puppy. I think that would be absolutely adorable. I made the border super wavy, not trying to make the lines straight at all, to kind of look like yarn with that doodled crochet hook in the bottom corner. We have finished my To Be Crocheted list, and now we are going to move on to a spread that is dedicated to my very first crochet project back in the middle of August. I'm breaking out my Instax Polaroid printer to print out the picture of this bee that I made and messed up completely. You might have seen it in my last video, but if it's a crochet journal, I need to add in my first project. My family calls him Foobie, which is derived from the term foobar. It's so mean. It's really so mean to this poor bee. But oh my gosh, it looks nothing like what the video was supposed to have it look like. I think I lost count after like round 2, and I just started like randomly stitching in places. It's not awful, but it could definitely be better. It looks like a mouse with bee colors, if I'm being honest. I added in some borders and highlighted every other line in this light gray to write a little blurb about my very first project. And that blurb says, I completed my first ever crochet project on August 14th, 2023. I decided to make a bee because it would get me used to working with fuzzy yarn, color changing, and sewing on the wings. I knew I had to keep going no matter how many times I messed up, because I realized finishing the project was more important than making it perfect. I also added in a couple flower stickers from an Etsy shop that I will also have linked down below to fill in some extra space. And now we are moving over to the right page where I'll make my hopes and dreams spread. Similar to my to be crocheted spread, this is basically going to be a brain dump to write what exactly I want to get out of crocheting. Like, do I want it to just be a hobby? Do I want to eventually start selling my projects? Maybe at craft fairs or farmers markets? Do I want to do multiple or every weekend at some point down the line? This is just going to be a place for me to reflect. And after finishing up this hopes and dreams spread, we are moving on to the last spread of the setup, which is my current yarn collection. I wanted to make this in the back of my journal because I'm adding actual yarn to these pages and I didn't want it to be super lumpy in the beginning of the journal to the point where I'm having a hard time writing and setting up other spreads. It might be an issue as I get further into this journal, like towards the end, but I can always put a mat or something thick underneath the page to write on it if it's becoming an issue. That's future Tori's problem. But I thought it'd be a cool idea to have a place in this journal to put all the yarn that I own. I just got a ton of yarn from Michaels and Amazon. Before I say anything else, I can't believe how much yarn I've already accumulated. I literally started to crochet a few weeks ago and I got 2 huge bins filled up to the brim. It's already a problem. But anyways, I have some purple and brown and dark yellow and purple and white pattern yarn, and I really want to make a collection of like peanut butter and jelly themed animals. I know that sounds kind of weird, but Zero Gravity Crochet did it, and I want to copy her. They came out so darn cute. So I'm just labeling all my yarn, where I got it, the color if I know what it's called, and that is my yarn samples complete. We are now entering the final flip through portion of today's video, and if you already left a comment talking about your projects, please also leave a comment of a yarn emoji if you made it to the end. You guys are amazing and I appreciate it so much. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe while you're here. Thank you again to Ohuhu for collaborating with me on today's video. Don't forget to go check them out and also my bullet journal social medias. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!